All right. So, man, I have been wanting to do this interview for some time. Flipping the script a little bit, AJ is my fearless leader in eXp and the Go Getter Nation, and I've had the pleasure of hearing his story um, probably 15 or maybe 20 times, and every time I hear AJ speak about his personal journey in real estate, what he had achieved, which was unbelievably impressive before EXP, and then to against my recommendation, which I'm sure he'll tell you about, to pivot into EXP, just 51, 52 months ago or something like that. And so, AJ, this is going to be good. I don't know if we have a time limit today. We're going to try to stick to 26 minutes to honor the 30-minute time block. AJ, well, first I got to say, I've only been in eXp for about 6 months as we're recording this, and your leadership and your vision, which you've been honing over years, has just given me like supreme confidence. And so I just want to thank you. I'm expecting this to get like 5-10 million views ultimately. And and just not for giving me crap for waiting so long to see the light with eXp. AJ, why don't you start off with that kind of like what you had achieved in real estate. Like you got to a point in real estate, and we met in 2015. We spent a couple of years together. I was consulting into your business to figure out that leverage point. And so pick up that early part of the story and just tell everyone sort of how you got into real estate and what you had achieved.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, this is fun for me to have you flip the script and actually interview me on my story. So I appreciate that. And I just want to say it's fun to be able to build this with you now because, when I was new into real estate, just watching your journey and seeing what you've been able to build, and with your coaching company, I've always respected and admired you. And then we've became friends over the last handful of years. So it's an honor to be able to do this with you. But let's dive in. So I got started in real estate back in 2013. And the only reason I actually got my real estate license is because I actually read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book after breaking my leg in a four-wheeling accident. So I had some extra time on the couch, and I'm an avid learner. So I had tons of books on the bookshelf that I had never read that I purchased when Borders was going out of business way back when, if you guys remember Borders. And I picked it up, and what I discovered in that book was you could actually be a real estate agent, but also be an entrepreneur, a business owner, and treat being a real estate agent like a business. So when I saw that you could build a team, build a business as a real estate agent, I was all in. So I got my real estate license as soon as possible. It was, I think, July. I broke my leg. I had my license that fall, and that would have been 2012. But what attracted me to the industry was the freedom aspect. What I saw in that book and what I know now is largely a myth, was that you could build this business, completely step out of it, disappear, and still make money, right? It's the idea of financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. And I believe that you can't truly have pure freedom in this life unless you have a strong residual income source. And I was hoping that real estate team would be that for me. And I was hoping I would be able to earn enough money, invest enough money through those deals that I was doing to invest in real estate to build a passive income stream there as well. And what I quickly discovered was after taxes and expenses and all that, even though you might be selling 100 homes a year, there's not that much money left over. And on January 1st, it always resets. And it's just really a grind. I believe you can still accomplish it through running a team. It's just, it wasn't for me, and most people will never achieve it that way. So when I joined Keller Williams, because I read I'm an REA, so it's like a natural thing for me to do. What I saw was like, wow, there's a lot of successful people here. I can learn a lot, both professionally and personally. But this profit share thing sounds kind of cool because you can earn passive income. But what I realized very fast was that it didn't make sense to spend a lot of time on it because profit share just isn't that valuable. My profit share last month was like $15. Best month was around $1,000, but certainly not life-changing money. So I was just kind of doing my thing, running a team. And after 4 years, I had a team of about 5 agents. We were selling close to 100 homes a year, 20 million in volume, one of the top teams in my office. I took Bold 5 times. If you're a KW agent, you know what that is. There's 5 or 6 times I took that. I made my wife take it, kicking and screaming 3 times. I was ALC 2 years, taught the Ignite classes, productivity coach at my office for a little while. So I was all in on the culture, not looking to make a switch. And eXp entered my life, and I watched a video on it that drastically changed the trajectory of my future because I was open-minded.
Yeah. So I want to dig into that piece there. So I think I remember the conversation that we had in my real estate office after you had made the switch. And it wasn't that you were retiring from real estate at the time. It was just the big difference in your story versus my story. And I remember a not so great, you know how pride can sometimes be a good word and a bad word.
Yeah.
This is the bad use of it. Like I had a lot of pride in the fact that business and real estate transactions in the sense of a real estate team was the way. Like it was the way. Like I had tried investing in real estate. I didn't like that. And so business. And so I just had a lot of pride sort of baked into that. You had a $1 million real estate team. You were joining eXp. Talk about, anyway, so the difference was the location freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just had a vision, and I never really truly understood it until you moved to Puerto Rico. Like that's when it actually made sense when you took the 12 months and did that. I'm not going to steal any parts of your story, but pick up, you know, when you got into eXp, it was not what it is today. It was not a massive stock. It didn't have all these talented players like we have today. It wasn't gobbling up brokerages and mega teams across the country like it is today. Talk about like that first 12 to 18 months in eXp. How'd you focus on the real estate business? And then how did you approach revenue share?
Yeah, awesome. So I'll just say, like, if you're looking at eXp for the first time, like, do your due diligence, like at least 3 to 5 hours worth. Talk to multiple people, watch multiple videos, like really dig deep, like you're trying to find the meaning of life. And like once you've done that true due diligence on it, like then either say yes or no to it, but don't just take a glance. I just want to say that. I dug deep in it because I just operate from this foundational principle that I want to live an extraordinary life. I want this one shot that I have here on this earth to be amazing. I want to spend as much time doing the things I want to be doing with the people I love and serving people. Like, and I knew that I wasn't going to get there as an agent. So when I saw the opportunity at eXp, I really looked at it. And I made the switch January 1, 2017. I saw it, and 2 weeks later I was over. At the time we had 2,400 agents. In North Carolina where I was selling, there was about 50 total agents. We were not on the NASDAQ. People were making fun of us for being a penny stock. When I left, my team leader said, AJ, I've never even heard of this company. Where are you going? Like, can we keep you? And I was like, no, I've already made the switch. like that morning, my license transferred. Because I didn't want to be talked out of it, because I knew it was the right decision in my heart. And if it wasn't, I could have went back and they probably would have gave me a better deal. And I've actually, seen better deals being offered for people looking to leave eXp. So even if you're not going to leave, get a better deal at your current brokerage by saying you're going to leave. So it was a no-brainer for me because I had nothing to lose, and nobody listening to this call really has anything to lose by making the switch, because it's business as usual, operated on a platform that can take your business to the next level. No downside. So I had this goal when I joined. I was going to keep selling real estate with my team for at least the next 5 years. And I wasn't looking to really grow my local real estate business, but I was going to keep it the same. But at the same time, I was going to build my national and hopefully one day international business through our revenue share model. Because I look at my revenue share team just like a team. And my goal to build my revenue share team was for me to personally go out and get 25 agents to join over 5 years, 5 a year. And through our 7 tiers of revenue share, I should be able to help them grow into a total organization of about 500 agents. And my target income, my goal was $500,000 a year in residual income from a group of 25 agents with 25 what we call frontline qualified agents. And what I quickly discovered was that agents were open to the opportunity because top producers, teams, independents, they're looking for a better way. They're going to bed, a lot of them praying for a better way. And I discovered that attracting agents to eXp was actually easier than selling houses. It took less time, and I was having way more fun because I was talking to people that for the first time in a very long time saw a better future for themselves, and they were getting really excited, and I tend to feed off that energy. So in just 18 months, I had personally enrolled 22 agents. So instead of taking 5 years to do it, it took pretty much 18 months. And on that 18th month, I remember the day exactly. It was a sunny day in North Carolina. My wife and I did a Facebook Live on a boat dock in the neighborhood that we lived in at the time. It was June 18th. We hit 500 agents. So it took about 18 months to accomplish my 5-year goal. And that month, our income was $25,000 in residual income. And that was more than we were making as agents. And yeah, it was absolutely life-changing. So we decided at that point to go on this crazy journey of traveling the country for almost a year in a motorhome, just complete time, financial, and location freedom at that point. And it was awesome. And we're going to do it again this summer. We're going to go for 3 months.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, myself included, you made that comment and you would think, and this is not a great prideful moment for me, you would think that in my position with Real Estate B School, and, generally I've just made the claim brokerage agnostic. We coach everyone at every brokerage, so I have that part of it. Yet someone shared the opportunity with me, and I think I watched not even a minute of the video. Mm-hmm. And I claimed to have a sense of what it was about, and I just shut the door on it. Let's share a little bit. You kind of touched on it, like do the work, but even bigger than that, bigger picture, maybe mindset wise, what would you tell somebody that isn't, because I'm only 6 months into this and I think everybody should be in eXp. Yet I was so closed off to it because I had achieved in business by avoiding distractions, by not chasing squirrels, and I just judged it unrightly. But what would you tell somebody in a couple of minutes? What would you tell somebody that was closed off, #unrecruitable?
Yeah, I like that. Man, it's tough. Like sometimes I just wish when I'm on Zoom calls with people that I could take what's in my heart and put it into theirs, because it's just like, I have goosebumps even thinking about it. Like when you truly like get to see what eXp is all about, you get to talk to the people, you get to hear the success stories. Like, you were like, you and our buddy John, you guys were like my buddies, and you guys were like so anti-eXp, and I could never really implant that feeling into you guys because it's impossible to do until you actually experience it. And that's why we're going to be doing these awesome masterminds together, which is going to be really cool, so people can get around us and see what we're doing. But I would just say, man, it's like if you knew that there was an opportunity to make 7 figures a year residual, not really changing your business model that much, maybe just carving out a little bit of time a week to start putting it towards something different, like it deserves a couple hours of your time, like to seriously look at it. Like just look at it. Like, I mean, I know most agents, when they get a call from like a lead, someone trying to sell leads, like they'll sit on the phone with a sales rep from Boomtown for an hour. Like, and that's just to like, just get you running faster on this hamster wheel. But like, this is your chance for ultimate freedom. Like if your goal is to eventually live this life of your dreams that involves financial freedom and time freedom and maybe some more travel in your life, this is the best vehicle about it, or the best vehicle that there is to do that. What's interesting to me is like, now I see like top teams that are not with eXp. I see real estate coaches that are not with eXp, and some of them probably don't really know the truth about eXp like you didn't, Lars, 7 months ago. But some of them I know do know the truth because they've been through the process. They just didn't make the switch. And it's like, it's almost like being out of integrity to coach somebody or to speak into somebody's life, or to have agents that are looking to you to really create their dream life through you, and not be at eXp or not share eXp with them, because this is just a better way. It's a fact. It's just, are you going to let your ego hold you back from what's waiting for you on this side of the business?
Yeah. And I think it's all ego at this point. It's not like there isn't good information out there. You know, when I have calls now with folks and they're like, well, you know, there's a bad eXp agent in my market. I'm like, there are bad agents
Yeah.
literally in every market, a whole lot of them, 80% of them. So if that was your judge of, like, you wouldn't be in real estate.
Yeah.
But they're, what was I going to say? They're closed down to it. Man, I had a really good point, but I lost my train of thought.
Think on that for a second. One thing that we were talking about, because me, John, and Lars were just in Breckenridge a couple of weeks ago, little mini mastermind. We'll be doing a bigger one next year. So I just posted yesterday, get your epic season pass, because we're going to be hitting the slopes. John had a very unique perspective on how, and Lars, you might be even able to explain it better than I can, but it's like in our revenue share dashboards, we can see through our 7 tiers, like what percent of our organization lives on each tier. And my first tier is 2.4% of my entire organization. So all of my personal efforts makes up 2.4% of this opportunity, 2.4% of my income, 2.4% of my entire group. When I was at Keller Williams, my 2.4% was 100% of everything that I could ever do. And when I was at Keller Williams, I had recruited to my team, because every good team leader, their 2 main responsibilities are attracting talent and retaining that talent. Recruiting agents, retaining the agents. It's the same thing when you build a revenue share team, except your 2.4% is 100%. My 2.4% is 2.4% of the opportunity. So I had literally recruited about 20 agents to my personal team, local team in Charlotte, doing 8,500 homes a year. And that's what it was. Here, I already shared in 18 months, I got 22 agents that turned into 500 and a residual income of $25,000. And I was doing the same thing. I was looking for good talent and I was hoping to retain that talent. But the key difference is, when you're in a local market as a local team or a local broker and you're trying to recruit talent, you're recruiting talent to a very small opportunity. I was able to recruit talent to a massive opportunity, the biggest opportunity that real estate agents have ever seen. And one of my first key recruits was one of the top teams in my entire market, the LePage Johnson team. They would have never joined the Mida real estate group selling 85 homes. They were selling more homes than me. But when I could offer an opportunity that is now international, and at the time it wasn't, it was still very small because they joined mid 2017. But when I could offer what eXp has, they were willing to look and they joined. And now my life's changed because of them. Their life's changed. So it's the best. It's the best. Like,
yeah, we were looking at an organization that had 1.8%, and it was a 3,000 person organization. And it was like, what were the numbers? 2,946 people are in this person's organization. And at 3,000, you're making 200 grand a month. Just an FYI. And you don't need to physically be anywhere. Like, you could literally be anywhere. Yet only 54 of those 3,000 were brought in by this person. You know, and if you, and the thing I respect about your journey is that you were willing, when eXp didn't have momentum and nobody heard about it, you were willing to just share it consistently. Can you tell the story about, you touched on it a little bit, but I want people to understand, like, the things we're willing to do to acquire buyers and sellers, how much more enjoyable and easier agent attraction is. And it really is agent attraction. It's not recruiting. Like you said, you didn't recruit, you know, Shelly and Craig into your team. You just shared some information with them, and they looked at it. So I love the story about expireds and the way you track your numbers in expireds and agent attraction. Can you just tell that so people get a bit of an idea?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the way I got Craig and Shelly, it was literally a natural conversation in a parking lot. We bumped into each other. I sent them a video, and this is the same way we do it now. I sent them a video. They watched the video. He said, wow, that seems really interesting. I said, okay, great. You should talk to one of my partners. They talked to one of my partners and they joined. Like, that's still how we build it today. So yeah, so like, it's really interesting. So I used to call expireds, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. I moved to a new market. And I had a wife that I had to provide for, but only had been married a couple of years. So I had to make it work. I didn't know anybody. So I called expireds. And if you've ever called expireds or FSBOs, heck, if you ever even had to like prospect buyers on a consistent basis, like it's not easy. There's rejection. People don't always want to talk to you. They usually don't want to talk to you. And my business plan was to have a minimum of 100 conversations with sellers every single week. And that was going to be my life probably for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years until I had enough residual income to where I didn't have to do that anymore. And at first it sucked, but eventually became a habit. I got good at it. And most days I enjoyed it because I knew that every no that I got was worth about $85. If you knew every no you got from a stranger was worth $85, you'd go stand in front of Target right now and ask a random question that hopefully you got no's to, and you just be, stacking the chips at that point. So that's the kind of mindset that I developed through coaching. And I took that same approach to agent attraction. However, with agent attraction, I did a very, very poor job. I always laugh when people say they don't want to be a recruiter, because I say, if I was actually a recruiter, like literally a team leader for Keller Williams is a recruiter, I would be the worst maybe in company history, and I would have had a job for like 3 months. They're like required to recruit like 10 people a month. I've averaged 2 a month for the last 4 years, and I'm in like the top 5 of the entire company, top 5, 10, I haven't checked lately, of like personal recruits. And I would be like the worst recruiter for like another company. So what I did was over the last 5 years or so, I've only talked to maybe 500 people, like total. And I would have done that in 5 weeks calling expireds. And in 5 years, I was able to take that same amount of contacts, put it towards agent attraction. Of course, results may vary. I have great, amazing people in my organization, and results may vary widely. So I just want to say that. But these are my numbers. This is my story. And the average contact value for agent attraction for me personally has been over about $3,000. And that's $3,000, just to recap, versus $85 calling expireds. So quickly, what I realized, even before the numbers were that good for me, was this is quickly becoming the highest and best use of my time. And it's a lot more fun. And to touch on the other thing you said, Lars, like compare it to like listings. Like it's also like, imagine if you could, work with you get a lead and you call the buyer agrees to meet with you. You sign a buyer agency, or you sign a listing form. I don't even know the names anymore. And the moment you sign that agency agreement with that client, it sells. It's immediately money in the bank. You don't have to put it in the MLS. You don't have to show them houses on weekends. You don't have to negotiate offers, do all of those things that are involved as an agent to actually get the commission. That's kind of like what attracting an agent is. Like the day they join eXp is the day that it's residual income for you for as long as they stay with eXp. And that's pretty cool. It's like I used to list houses and work with buyers on occasion. Now I list real estate agents, if you want to look at it that way. But the way I look at it is like I'm changing lives. And my life has been drastically changed because of this opportunity. My 8-month-old son, I see all day, pretty much every day. And that's a big deal. And the people that are joining my organization have dealt with horrendous things, health-wise, and other things that people go through with on a daily basis, yearly basis. But when you have residual income to help you through issues that you may be having in your life or that your family members may be having, it's a really big deal. It's not just about making a bunch of money. It's nice making a bunch of money, but it's about what the money does for you and for the people around you. So Keller Williams definitely impacted my life, but it's such a small fraction of what eXp has been able to do in my life. And I just want to share that with as many people as possible at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just the other day, we're on a Vox channel, and I got emotional. Not even having a conversation with somebody. This was just leaving a message for you and John.
Yeah.
About really what this opportunity is going to be able to afford. And financial isn't even the thing at this point. It's just going to be a vehicle that throws out so much money that my vision is like giving away $100,000 a month. Like, just God placed this vision where whoever gets to even think about something like that. And that's going to happen in this opportunity. One thing I want to say, which you kind of touched on it a little bit, in real estate, when you're traditionally successful, that life sucks. I'll argue that all day long. It's the premise of Real Estate B School. You get to a point, AJ, you were a top agent. You're like, this sucks. Maybe Lars has the answer.
Exactly.
You were 2 years in Real Estate B School, and without sugarcoating it, you're like, this sucks. There's got to be a better way to do it. And you got to about $20,000 a month pretty consistently. Some months were negative 20, some months were positive 40. So there's no real consistency in a real estate team, even though that is the core of what Real Estate B School teaches. Yeah. There was 2 posts in particular that really sort of put a nail in my heart around this thing. Was you just hit 2,000 people in your revenue share team. There was a post on Facebook. You told your whole journey. And I was like, son of a gun, like, and I just paused. And then the other one was that my team sold 1,008 homes this month. And here I am, like, I'm the guy that has done real estate team at a very high level, maybe 60 sales in a month. And that was 3 months after we lost money, so it was this overall profitable, but sort of a wild ride. And that's the kind of leverage that we're talking about, and in our organization, your organization, the plan to do it is like, it is there, and it's way easier than real estate. And the cool thing is, not everybody will do it. Same thing. Not everybody will sell a lot of real estate. Yeah. So I just want to throw that out there, that those 2 posts that you had. And then John, it's been growing in my heart. And then John called me like a week later. And he's like, are you sitting down? I went over, I'm like, no, you can't do it. And my heart palpitated. Like, I think it skipped like 9 beats. If you can, a few more minutes, can you, the second thing that got me was, I think you call her Sally in your plan. Can you tell a quick version of like what it takes to have a residual income stream of 15 grand? And what it looks like in this opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna see if I can even pull it up real quick.
Because I think it's a good story. So my approach to wealth building, I decided I didn't want to own a bunch of rentals. I mean, I owned 10 of them, and it was just a grind, and it wasn't mailbox money as people claim. But when I wrapped my head around that example, I was like, that's like infinitely easier than any other thing I've ever learned.
Yeah.
In any aspect of business anywhere, so I just think if you can kind of shed some light on that example, I think it'd be helpful.
Yep. I got it pulled up here. I want to share one thing before I forget. Like, I was just having a conversation with one of my friends who's not yet with eXp this week, and he's looking to, expand his business, possibly open additional offices and do all these things. So the conversation naturally went towards eXp, because I can't have a real business conversation with a real estate agent and not talk about it, because it would be just like lying to a person. Like, it'd be like withholding, like, if you know where the pot of gold is, like, and it doesn't, and if you have a pot of gold and by sharing it with people, your pot of gold gets bigger, you share it with people. Like, that's what eXp is. And I didn't want to steal that opportunity from him. So I shared it. And one of the way the conversation went is, we got to a point where I was just kind of like, before you do anything, I kind of stopped the call. I didn't even talk about eXp that much. I stopped the call. I was like, let's have a follow-up about eXp. But what I want you and your fiance, their business partners, to do is take some time over the next few days and just figure out what success really looks like for you guys in 3 to 5 years. Like, the worst and the greatest failure in life to me is if you spend the next 3 to 5, 15, 20 years climbing this mountain to get to the pinnacle of what you see as success, or what you think it might be, or maybe you haven't even thought about what it is, and you get there, and then you look across the valley that's so far away, and you realize, I just climbed this whole time, sacrificed so many things in my life to get here, and it's not even what I want. So, like, when you think about life like that, you can start to evaluate things differently. You can start to look at opportunities, look at what you're doing a little bit differently, and start to think, is this the vehicle that's going to get me to where I really want to go? So
Yeah, I want to share another story there. A guy that we both know decided to go build his own brokerage. He has 44 agents. I had a conversation with this guy, and so successful in his market with what he did. You know, boutique, real great look, exposed brick, lots of glass in the office, all of that stuff. He is grinding 7 days a week on personal production because the thing he built it hasn't given him even a little bit of freedom. You know, so it's such a good point, like, you know, of all the options available, and this wasn't really available to many people until you actually see it. But anyway, I just think there's so many examples of that where you're just going up the wrong mountain, you know, and so, yeah.
It's pretty much every top producer, business owner, independent brokerage, top team that I talk to, they don't have a clear picture of what they really want out of life. But what I do know, Lars, and what I think people eventually get to is what they don't want. They don't want to not see their kids. They don't want to constantly be working nights and weekends, or when they're on vacation, negotiating offers and not being present. A lot of it's not even the time aspect that you put into your business, but like when you're not working, are you truly present? They don't want the stress. Like, these are things that people don't want. So it's like, if your goal is to not have those things, like you want time with your family, you want a healthy life, you want presence with the people you love, and your goal to get there is to 10x your current business that already doesn't give you those things, you're going to have 10x the problems. You're not going to have a solution. It's like, it's going faster down the wrong highway. Like, you're going to get there and you're going to get there faster, but it's not going to be at the correct destination. All right, let me share this presentation here that I have. Really simple example, just takes a couple minutes to watch. You can see that okay, Lars?
Yep.
Cool. So I put this together because I started to think, like, you know, my whole foundation for what I want to help people accomplish is create financial freedom. And if you study financial freedom, there's a movement out there called the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. I like the FI part, financial independence, because I love business and I'll always have my hands in it at some capacity, but doing the things I love. And so financial independence. Well, the best study that we have to look at is called the Trinity study. It was done in the late 90s, I believe. And what they were able to see is that if you're going to retire, your nest egg, whatever the nest egg you have, you can safely spend 4% of it per year and not run out of money. Like, there's like a 97% chance you won't run out of money over a 30-year period. So like 4% is the number that most financial planners will use. So this example is going to show you, if you wanted to retire, or if you just wanted a residual income while you're working of $15,000 per month, $18,000 per year, you would need $4.5 million saved and invested. To do that traditionally, through traditional investing, you know, and this would be like a low-cost index fund. $4.5 million is a lot of money. Lars, you and I have had a lot of conversations about this. We've both been high income earners for you much longer than me, but I've been making pretty good money for a while. And a net worth of $4.5 million as an agent, close to impossible to achieve. Like, maybe when you're like 60, 70, and you've been selling for like 20, 30 years, and you're one of the biggest producers in your market, the average agent only makes $40,000 per year. And you got to live on that.
And you'd have to save. So I was at a $20,000 a month savings schedule before I entered eXp. I had liquid 2.4, and I was still $4.8 million off. I was still 20 years off on $20,000 a month going right into savings.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this?
Yeah. Well, I just got to say, I love both you and John for, you know, coming over and eventually being open-minded. So I don't hold that against you guys, because it's actually the best story. Like, I love stories, you know, like that. Like, it's like, I didn't want to see it, but then when I saw it, I put my pride aside and took action on it, because stories like that is what's going to get the next wave of people over. The people who have taken a little look, then we need them to take the whole look, and then they'll come. So I think, I forget what you called her, but I call her Donna.
Oh,
So,
Sally.
Sally. So this is Donna, and Donna's an agent with eXp. She just joined, and she's like, I'm going to keep selling houses like I always did at my previous brokerage, but I'm going to build revenue share part-time. This is the story of the majority of our agents. Very few people ever, start selling houses and then retire from selling houses like I did. I don't really know many at all, like maybe a couple. But it's possible. And most people just like selling houses. Like if you like selling houses, great. Just don't make it to where you have to sell houses. So Donna's part-time, full-time selling houses, part-time building rev share. Part-time building rev share, the way I look at it, is like 3 hours a week initially as you're getting started. So Donna has a 3-year plan. I told you my 5-year plan was to get 25 agents personally. Her 3-year plan is to get 10 over 3 years. So she would have 10 agents on her first tier. If they're a capping agent, now a capping agent at eXp pays $16,000 into the company, then they cap, they keep 100% of their commission. And in most parts of the country, it's going to be about 8 to 12 sales a year. So nothing crazy. So if they're a capping agent and you personally sponsored them, you can earn up to $2,800 per year from that capped agent. So that'd be about $28,000 on your first tier there. So Donna likes what she sees. She's getting about 28 grand a year now residual. She's like, well, what if I help them also grow residual income, grow this additional stream of income for their businesses? So she's going to not only attract her 10, but also teach them how to go out and get their 10. I just say 10 by 10. It's simple math. It keeps it easy. So it's the 10 by 10 strategy. So 10 by 10, that's 100. So on her second tier, she has 100 people. Now 100 people on her second tier is worth up to $320,000 per year in income, because you can actually earn a little more on your second tier agents. So you can earn up to $3,200 per year on a capped agent on your second tier. So this is where it gets really exciting. This is where your efforts are 2.4% of the opportunity. What the effort she put in really was the 10 that she got. And now this is where it starts to get exponential. So let's add in the first and second tier. That's $348,000 per year residual income. So Donna's excited about it. She's like, I did it. I'm financially free. But then she's like, wait, what if they're not all cappers? So of course, they're not all going to be cappers. Not all of them are going to get 10. Some will get 50. Some will get 0. Some will get 5. And not everyone's going to sell 8 to 12 houses. Some might sell 20. Some might sell 50. Some might sell 2 or 0. But let's just use the NAR average. Now, the NAR average, last time I checked, the average agent sells like 6 homes a year. So in our model, 5 to 6 homes a year is like a half capper. A half capper is selling 5 to 6 homes a year. So we're going to go and use the NAR average. So let's just cut in half. Instead of a full cap, they're a half cap. That's $180,000 per year if we just cut the opportunity in half, because they're not all cappers. So from an organization of 110 agents, you have the opportunity to make $15,000 per month. So it's like you have 2 choices: attract agents and help them attract some agents, or save $4.5 million. I know it sounds silly and a little hard to even imagine that those are the 2 choices you have as an agent to create a nice residual income for yourself. But that is the reality. And that reality exists now because of eXp. And to kind of share where I'm at today, I have just shy of 3,500 agents in my group. By the end of this year, I'll have over 5,000, it looks like, which will be the end of my 5 years. I said my 5-year goal is to have 500. It should end up over 5,000, which means to me, and should mean to you, that this is actually 10x the opportunity that most people who are even excited about it even thinks it is. So it's just been a wild ride. And one of the best things, Lars, it's like on my path to becoming financially free, it was all about the money. And I always heard people say, it's not about the money. Once you stop thinking about the money is when you'll really start to grow. And when you really add value to people's lives, that's when, financial resources will come abundantly to you. And with this model, that's the truth. And once your financial needs are taken care of, the best part about this opportunity is the friends that you get to build with, and having all of the amazing people in my group that I've been able to build with over the last 4 years. And now having you and John in the last 6 months, two of my great friends come over, and the time we get to spend together as families and really do life together, because that's what's so special about the life we get to live is doing with others and having really awesome experiences like snowboarding and skiing and dinners. And next year, if you don't ski and snowboard, we'll do some snowmobiling and some curling on the ice. I saw you could do that in Breckenridge too. So we just invite you to do this with us, to do life with us, to do business with us. We're partnering together. We're doing it together. And it's the most fun I've had in my life. Lars, show your squirrel real quick.
Yeah.
So Lars always talks about in his coaching, don't chase squirrels. And that's why Lars actually laughed in my face when I told him I was joining eXp, because he thought I was chasing squirrels. And maybe I was, but it's worked out. But I'm the type of person that traditionally has chased squirrels. I get bored with things very easily. I was 3 years into real estate, got Lars coaching because I was already looking for a way out, because I was burned out. I knew that I needed something more. And I'm almost 5 years into this now, and I'm more excited today than I was 4 years ago. This is all I do. This is what I love. This is what I'm passionate about. So it's just really, really been awesome, man.
And I'll kind of end with this. So I think probably fairly or accurately, eXp and the people that go out and talk about it are criticized that all they talk about is revenue share. So there was some focus on revenue share in this conversation. Financially, cap and split, tech, training, and stock. There's 4 other pillars, and healthcare, if you want to count healthcare. There's 5 other pillars we probably didn't even touch on at all. Yeah. So that's part of that 3 to 3 hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours of due diligence. Reach out to someone that you know and trust that's in eXp. If it's AJ, great, reach out to AJ. If it's me or John or whoever. But make sure you understand the whole value. Don't do what I did and just make a snap judgment about it because they're coming at you and talking about revenue share. And the model that I didn't understand and AJ did understand was that if there ever was an industry where a network marketing approach would work to grow a company, it is real estate. And so whatever preconceived notions you have about multi-level marketing or pyramid scheme or, Glenn Sanford brilliantly copied a part of what Gary Keller did. There's 7 levels. It's revenue versus profit. It's cloud-based. There's no way Gary would go start what he did back then now, right? So we just had a better version. And now the people that are growing it are being financially compensated for it. But if you don't want to do agent attraction, it's totally cool. Plug into all the other menu items that are awesome here. Any final thoughts? I love that Donna or Sally 15K plan. And just expect, maybe you can touch on this as we end this here. When you talk to folks that don't fully understand eXp, like your team leader at a Keller Williams or your broker at any other brokerage, they're not going to know how to have an intelligent conversation with you about it. So it's kind of like going to, I don't know, a Ford dealer and talking about like, hey, tell me why I would buy a Ford over a Tesla, where they're going to talk about like the Tesla's battery life sucks and there's only charging stages. They're going to talk about anything they can come up with that's not great about a Tesla. Yeah. So talk about that a little bit. Like last word of advice, what would, as people shame you the way I shamed you and said you were crazy, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I'll kind of just elaborate on what you said a little bit. So like the 4 first pillars of eXp, split and cap, technology, training, stock, the newer agents and the lower producers that are looking to build big businesses, they're going to benefit the most from those first 4, in my opinion, and that's usually what they're most interested in. But the brokers, the independents, the team leaders, the top producers, they realize that real estate's not a vehicle to get them to achieve their wildest financial dreams. So they're going to really love the revenue share part. And like Lars said, you need to see the full model. This was just my story. This was not what eXp has to offer. This was very just my story, which was fun to share. So I appreciate it, Lars. But I'll just end it with this. And if you're not there yet, you'll get there at some point in your career. And when I first joined eXp, it was very much like, let's see if this thing works. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't want to tell anybody because what if it doesn't? I look like a failure. I look like a fool. it's your ego talking. The only reason you wouldn't do this, the only reason you wouldn't do this if you're already here, or you wouldn't do it if you're not here, is because your ego, and you're afraid of failing personally. You're afraid of what people might think about you. So that was holding me back a little bit initially. Even though I had faith it was going to work, there was still part of me that was like, what if it doesn't? We know now it does work. It's just, will you do the work? But I was driving my car, and I was actually passing one of my agents on a weekend who was putting out open house signs. And I was like, man, I do not want to be doing that for the next 15, 20 years. And my wife and I were on our way to brunch, and they're out putting open house signs. And I was like, man, I just don't want to do that forever. I hope this rev share works. And around the same time, maybe the same week or so, I was listening to a podcast by Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, who you've coached with, I know, Lars. And what he was saying was really interesting to me. He was talking about the idea of an entrepreneur. Their focus, all their energy, all their time goes into, how can I dig this hole deeper? Like, make this widget better, sell more of them, sell more real estate. If you're a real estate agent, how can I just dig this hole deeper? The deeper I go and the faster I go to dig this hole as deep as possible is my definition of success. And you're looking for all the ways you can do that better. And what an enlightened entrepreneur does is they step back from the hole for a second, and they ask themselves, am I even digging the right hole? And that hit me like a ton of bricks, because this whole time I'm building this team, trying to build it bigger. And what I realized is the entire time I was digging the wrong hole. And as an agent, like, you got to look, there's another hole now. It's called eXp. And it's not just like take your entire team, your entire brokerage, and just do rev share. It's just know that this second hole is a modern team. It's like the new way to build a team. It's keep your team, but add this on top of it. And that changed my life. That epiphany changed my life. And I'm just so thankful I'm digging the right hole finally. And it doesn't matter where this hole goes. It's like, it doesn't need to go deeper. Maybe it's going sideways. I don't even care. It's just like, this is a nice little hole that I get to play in. And my son's going to grow up playing in this hole. And it's going to change not only our lives, generational wealth speaking, but man, like the people we get to impact, it's like, it's truly changing lives, not only the agents' lives, but the lives that the agents are impacting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, appreciate you and your leadership and your patience with folks that takes years to see this. Honestly, if you're watching this and you haven't really studied it, and you may not even know what it means to really study it. You may think like, I totally get it, right? I promise you don't understand it. Like I haven't achieved everything at the highest level in my life. I fail so often, but I have figured out real estate at the highest level. And this thing is the thing you need to bolt on to the side of your real estate business for a bunch of different reasons that you probably don't understand right now. So just reach out to somebody that you respect and trust and have them take you through this opportunity. AJ, appreciate you, brother.
Awesome, man. This was great.